The thing is to love life, to love it even when you have no stomach for it and everything you've held dear crumbles like burnt paper in your hands, your throat filled with the silt of it. When grief sits with you, its tropical heat thickening the air, heavy as water, more fit for gills than lungs. When grief weighs you like your own flesh, only more of it, an obesity of grief. You think, how can a body withstand this? Then you hold life like a face between your palms, a plain face, no charming smile, no violet eyes, and you say yes, yes, I will take you. I will love you again. Today is my time back after Whistlekick's Martial Summit. I am honored that I was invited. I am ready to go back next year. Lovely conversation with Jalinda. And I think what's important in this moment to express to you all and to encourage in the martial arts community is more women teaching, more women leading. So I hope you enjoy the conversation. I hope you enjoy the little scenery that I've put up here for you. And
keep kicking, never quitting. Focus sharp like a blade that's hitting. From white belt dreams to the master flow, Paul Coffey's got the mic, now the stories grow. Technique entails discipline and fire. Each guest brings truth to inspire. Keep kicking, step into your power. Keep kicking, moment to the hour. Every strike, every fall, every rise, it's a journey through a warrior's eyes. Old school, new school, all styles blend. From the mat to the mic where the arts ascend. Philosophy deep, but the vibe stays tight. Martial minds meeting in the podcast light. Keep kicking, step into your power. Keep kicking, moment to the hour. Every strike, every fall, every rise, it's a journey through a warrior's eyes. Keep kicking. Keep kicking. Paul Coffey leads and the journey begins. Paul Coffey leads and the journey begins. Technique entails discipline and fire. Each guest brings truth to inspire. Keep kicking, step into your power. Keep kicking, moment to the hour. Every strike, every fall, every rise, it's a journey through a warrior's eyes. Keep kicking. Keep kicking. Paul Coffey leads and the journey begins.
Hello everyone, welcome once again to Keep Kicking, Martial Arts Podcast, where I have martial conversations with my martial arts friends. Today I sit down with Jalinda. Jalinda, you want to tell the people about yourself?
Yeah, my name is Jalinda Wilson. I live in Lancaster, Ohio, which is located about 30 miles south of Columbus, Ohio. Most people know where Columbus is. I have been doing martial arts now for 30 years. It's hard to believe, but I'm 30 years into this journey. My husband and I he's a dentist by trade. So I help him with his dental practice, and then we also own our own martial arts school. He
Very
has 50
cool.
years of experience, so he has even more
Very
experience than
cool.
I do. Yeah, it's crazy.
Very cool. So tell us how you got started in martial arts.
Yeah, it's a funny story. I always, as a kid, wanted to do something, and I grew up in the time of the Karate Kid, the original Karate Kid. So I ended up really wanted to do karate in like junior high when the movies came out. And my mom was very old-fashioned. I was a tomboy. She didn't like that I was so physical. And she's like, girls don't do that. So I had to wait until I went to college. And when I went to college, back then you had to take some sort of gym credit. So I saw that they had judo. I was like, amazing. I don't know what this is, but I want to do it. So anyway, I joined the judo class there. It was just for a semester. Fell in love with it. Absolutely fell in love with it. And then from there, I met my husband, who happened to be one of the instructors. He wasn't the main instructor. His sensei was the main instructor, but he came in and kind of helped in the class at that time. Long story short, I ended up getting reacquainted with him about a year and a half later, watching a UFC, believe it or not. It was UFC, I believe, 2. So that's how old I am. And he was the only one that knew what Hoist was doing with triangle chokes and stuff like that because of his judo background. Again, I only had about maybe, 2 months of judo at that time, but I was following what he was saying just because of that little bit of knowledge that I had. And from there, I started joining his judo club. And from there, we went into Gracie Jiu-Jitsu. So, and then from there, I also expanded into karate. So he was also a black belt in karate.
That's awesome. What has kept you going for the 30 years?
Passion. Just love it. I just absolutely love it. I've always been an athletic person. I've always liked that physical contact. I couldn't play football when I was a girl. That was not allowed. I played basketball, and I was the girl that was on the ground wrestling for the ball. I was, the one setting the picks. And so I was always on the physical side of things. So I think I just have that natural instinct to want to be, athletic and keep going and keep in shape. But also just the passion of self-defense of it. I really love the self-defense aspect, and Gracie Jiu-Jitsu does do a really good job of really teaching you that self-defense.
So, we don't get as many women on the show because it's not necessarily that it's a boys' club martial arts, but
It
most. It kind of is.
Yeah.
Society teaches women not to be rough and tumble, I guess.
Right.
Have you run into any obstacles as a woman in martial arts?
Oh yeah.
Tell us about that.
I think the biggest thing is that I feel like, especially as I go up in ranks, especially in jiu-jitsu, right now, I'm a 3-stripe purple belt. And I'm not the black yet. I'm working towards my 3rd black belt at this point. But I feel like that puts a target on you as a female. I see guys that, I'm rolling around with them. And this has happened to me before multiple times where you're rolling with them. It starts out very friendly. And then you start getting out of stuff. You start actually, shutting them down. And I had this one guy once pick me up, slam me. And then, he was trying hard for like an Americana arm lock on me. Well, when he slammed me, of course, my arm went boom, and there he had it. So he was so proud of himself. And I'm finding that, I really pick and choose my partners, especially the older I get. I have to pick and choose my partners. They have to be trusted people that are not going to go off and be a jerk about it. Because there are a lot of jerks in the martial arts world.
Well, there's a lot of ego,
Yes, ego,
and
yes.
the male ego, when untrained, is fragile,
I agree.
and the idea of a woman submitting the untrained male, that's scary for the
It
male.
is. And I get that. I totally get that. But yeah, you don't want to be a jerk about it, where you're
Right.
physically hurting another person.
Sure.
So yeah, I've had a couple of other incidences like that through the years, with just being slammed harder than what I should have been. Again, I'm not one to complain too much, but you know,
Right.
you gotta, if you want longevity in any martial art, you've got to protect your body.
For sure. Jiu-jitsu especially, because it's more, I won't say it's more rough on the body, but it does have its moments.
That it does, along with judo.
Yeah, well, you started judo,
Yes,
right?
yeah,
And
and
you
we still
still
teach judo. Yep, I'm a black belt in judo now.
That's
So,
awesome.
yeah, we teach judo a couple nights a week along with our jiu-jitsu and karate. So we teach all three.
That's great.
Yeah.
And your husband teaches too, while also
Yes.
being a dentist?
Yeah. Yeah.
He's a busy man.
He is a very busy man. Yeah, he's a dentist by trade and martial artist by night.
I like that. What do you think that the average student neglects in their own practice?
Their body. I think they, especially as I see young men come into the gym and stuff, I see it more with young men. But I mean, there's some women that have this. I was an all or nothing type of person too. You know, when I was rolling hard. I was, especially when I was younger. But they roll so hard that they get injured all the time. And instead of it's okay to do that some. And I've even learned from higher ranked people, I listen to a lot of things, and I watch a lot of high rank like Gordon Ryan or something like that. He does a lot of flow rolling anymore. He's protecting his body until he has to turn it on. So you've got to protect those joints, those body, your body parts. So unfortunately, I have hit it hard too long in life. I have a bad knee now. My back's, a little jacked up. But you know what? Good chiropractors and just taking really good care of yourself, lifting and doing that stuff kind of, counteracts the damage I've done.
I had an instructor once tell me that the tragedy of a young man taking martial arts is that they think that going hard only means physically.
Yes.
And that's what you reminded me of. I mean, I was there. I've been there. I've been doing martial arts since I was 10. So, the teens and the 20s even, you are just fueled with rage and testosterone, and you go.
Yes.
And it takes you somewhere into your 30s before you realize that, I can go very hard mentally and not hard physically.
Right.
So.
Right. And in jiu-jitsu, especially in jiu-jitsu, sorry to cut you off there, but in jiu-jitsu, it's about the technique. A lot of times that technique can overcome strength. And we're taught, especially in Gracie jiu-jitsu, to wait. You wear them down until you can make that attack. I mean, look at what Hoist did in the early UFCs. And that's what he did with a lot of his opponents. He wore them down before he was able to attack them.
So are you all a UFC family?
Oh, yes, very much so.
That's great. I love that.
Very much so. We've trained with we've actually done training with multiple UFC fighters through the years. Dan Severance, I've had seminars with him. Matt Brown recently, just in the last couple of years. I'm friends with Wes Sims. He's here from Lancaster, Ohio. He was considered a bad boy.
Cool.
He's still very active with Mark Coleman. And honestly, Wes was one of the main people that really helped Mark through his sobriety. So that was amazing to hear, West side, Wes helping Mark Coleman through his tough times. And now look at him. Now look what Mark Coleman's doing, just inducted. And so, and of course, I got to give a shout out to Kayla Harrison. I mean, she's a judo girl. So
Love it. Um, what advice would you give to any women that are listening to the podcast, specifically
Hmm.
targeted toward those that want to start but haven't started yet?
Well, first of all, definitely do it. Find a gym that is going to make you feel welcome and
Mm-hmm.
secure. There are knucklehead gyms out there. That's what I call them.
Mm-hmm.
They're just gyms that they want to really just hurt each other. Don't get
Right.
yeah, there's several of those in this area too. So I'm like, try not to go to those gyms, first of all.
Mm-hmm.
Second of all, do it for a self-defense perspective. If you get into the sport, fantastic. If you start to do competitions, great. But that's not a main objective here. You want to do you want to do it for self-defense.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, we need that. 1 out of 3 women are going to be attacked in their lives.
Mm-hmm.
I cannot stress it enough. I do multiple self-defense courses. Often I do them for free. I work with the criminal justice students here in our local high school. And, I just talked with the girls. There were 6 girls in that class. I said, 2 of you will be attacked in your lifetime if you look at the statistics. I hope this doesn't happen to you.
Right.
I'm going to try to give you tools so you can get out of the situations. And also in any martial arts, especially jiu-jitsu, I feel like, and even judo, you learn to stay calm during the storm.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
You if you can learn to relax your body during these really tough battles, then you've got a better chance of coming out of that, not murdered or raped or getting out of the attack.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And another thing that I always piggyback on when somebody says to find a place that you're comfortable is also give yourself permission. If you find a place you think's comfortable, you go there and it ends up not being for you. That doesn't mean martial arts isn't for you. That means that place wasn't for you. Find something else.
Find something else. Yes, exactly.
Yeah. So when did you start teaching?
I started teaching originally in karate. I was probably right around a brown belt, so it would have been my late 30s at that point, because I'm 51 now. So it was my late 30s I started teaching. That's a requirement before you can go to your black belt in our school, that you have to be able to teach.
Okay.
Be able to pass along the knowledge. They want to make sure you understand it before you become a black belt. So
no, that's good.
Yeah, so I was starting to teach then, and then we actually had a student in our karate club. Good kid, fantastic kid. He ended up getting into a little bit of a spat in college, and he very good. He's a black belt in our style too. He said I was able to get a few punches in, but then I tripped and fell on the floor. Then he realized I didn't know what I could do from there. He's the one that really pushed us to teach me something more. He knew we had that judo background and jiu-jitsu background, so he's like, teach me more. So we ended up branching from there to judo, where then I started teaching as a brown belt in judo. And then same with jiu-jitsu. I've been teaching since I was a blue belt in jiu-jitsu at our school, One Academies in Lancaster. So
that's awesome. What do you think teaching has done for your own personal martial arts growth?
It is actually, when you teach, you have to do the research. You've got to practice it.
Absolutely.
You've got to know that if it's a good technique or a bad technique, because especially in jiu-jitsu, there's a lot of bad techniques out there. You see these like really quick videos that you're like, oh, I could do that. And then when you get into the heat of it, it's not realistic. So it solidifies your martial arts, the understanding of it. It allows you to dive deeper into it, and then your knowledge just keeps continuing to grow at that point.
I have done over a half a year's worth of interviews. I have done somewhere in the neighborhood of 40.
Oh.
And no one has said practicing and teaching solidifies the technique. Yeah. So I'm calling everybody else out, because that's one of the main things that it does, for sure. I always say that, like, what it did for me was it let me see the technique through a bunch of different lenses.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because
Yeah.
after I give it over to somebody, then I get to see what different people interpret it as, and
Mm-hmm.
that teaches me a lot too.
It does.
So,
It does. And then I always tell everybody, somebody can always shut down this technique. There's always an exit, you know, but then you have to know how to back it up, how to flow out of that, how to continue to move on when it does get shut down, because you will get shut down. It doesn't matter if you're standing and, you know, doing striking. It doesn't matter if you're on the ground rolling. You will get shut down at some point. It's how you're going to handle it in that. And then, you know, I start going through my head and I try to reverse mechanic things, you know, engineer things, you know, like, why did I just get tapped out? What just happened there? I think that just comes from, I just have this thirst for knowledge. That I think most people, once you hit a certain level, because a lot of people drop out, especially in jiu-jitsu at your blue belt level. They think, oh, I've mastered this, I'm good now. No, not even close.
Right.
Not even black belts always have it either, you know. It's
For
just
sure. Well, black belt's the beginning. Black belt's not the end.
it's a brand new beginning.
Yes.
Now you got a pretty good understanding of the techniques. Now let's really push it. You know, let's really solidify what I've learned.
Does your school teach people for MMA competition? Because you have an interesting thing going on, because you're teaching those traditional arts, but because you're teaching them in a combined or a mixed media, you probably draw those type in.
We do. We've had a couple of people compete here just on the local level. Just no professionals yet at this point. But I get a lot of calls. I'm the one that answers all the phones for, you know, the school. I'm the one, you know, answering people's questions. And the biggest thing, people was like, "Do you have MMA?" And I'm like, "Well, yes, we actually do have a cage in our school."
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it's a smaller one. It's not a full size, but still, you know, it does this job. And I often tell them, I was like, when you go into MMA, it's mixed martial arts. You can't just strike. You can't just. I find a lot of ex-wrestlers. Wrestling's really big in this area, and we've got you know, really good athletes here in Central Ohio that are wrestlers. And if they don't go on to college, they seem to be lost. They're like, well, now I'm going into MMA. Fantastic. Wrestling is a good base for that, but can you strike? Can you submit? You know, and people just don't know, and it takes a while to learn that. You just don't learn it overnight.
Especially after like wrestling for as long as, like, when I went to high school, one of my classmates, he went all state freshman, sophomore, and junior year, and then like maybe even further senior year. He was an amazing wrestler, but he had wrestled since middle school, and so throwing a punch is very odd to a person that's now trained not to throw a punch. So that the one thing that I say about all styles, if you're going to be a karate practitioner or a kung fu practitioner, you need to have a judo or a jiu-jitsu to balance you out, because not all fights stay standing. If you're a jiu-jitsu practitioner, you need to have some sort of striking, because not all fights go to the ground.
Yeah, that's actually a requirement from my professor, is that before we go and take black belt test, which his professor will be, you know, doing everything for us, and we have to have striking. And he knows we know how to strike because of our karate background. But, you know, he's really wanting us to really solidify that with our blue belts at this point. Like, hey, you need to learn how to strike. If you want to be a black belt here, you don't have to be the best at it, but you better be able to get a few hits in before you can take them down. That's what Hoist did. You know, he would, you know, throw a couple or throw a kick out there and then go in for his clinch. So
some sort of just fundamentals then.
Yes. Yeah. And, you know, it's funny. about a month or so ago, I was with Pedro Valente. I don't know if you know who he is.
Mm-hmm.
He's a Gracie Jiu-Jitsu he grew up under actually Alio Gracie.
Mm-hmm.
So, and learning from Alio. So, and everything that he does is very judo based. And
Mm-hmm.
we got into a very deep conversation how and also striking based. He teaches strikes along
Mm-hmm.
with taking somebody down,
Mm-hmm.
which would be done in a judo way.
Mm-hmm.
You go back to where the Gracies learned it from Maeda. You
Mm-hmm.
know, he came to Brazil and taught them, Kano Jiu-Jitsu is
Mm-hmm.
what they called it at that time before it turned into Kodokan Judo, and then it turned
Mm-hmm.
into Gracie Jiu-Jitsu, so it's just like that evolution. But there was strikes in there
Mm-hmm.
because we got to remember why do we do martial arts? It started out as self-protection
Mm-hmm.
of the
Mm-hmm.
samurai.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, that's where it came from. It's battle tested.
Mm-hmm.
So,
What's interesting about your school actually is that it's almost more like a traditional karate school, because karate, the system of karate was all things karate that we know now was judo and jiu-jitsu. Like it was
yes.
all, it was one. It was
And
broken
Japanese
up.
jiu-jitsu was that way.
Yes. Yeah. And it was broken up by the Japanese government so that karate could be sportified.
Right. Same with judo. That's what Kano did. He kind of had this idea that he wanted to take it because I think he was a practitioner of I guess there was 6 or 7 different schools at that time, if I understand right. And he knew 2 or 3 of them really well. So he just saw too many people getting injured. So he wanted to turn it into a sport to make it a little bit safer for people to do, which is funny because you're flinging people through the air.
Right. Yeah. Make it safe to throw people.
I know. Yeah, that's right. It's the gentle way, right?
That's right. The gentle way of doing
I was
it.
like, those Japanese have a good sense of humor. Yeah, right.
So how has martial arts helped you outside of the dojo?
It's helped me tremendously. I would say, growing up, I was that awkward kid, didn't know quite where I fit in. My self-confidence has gone through the roof because of martial arts. And that's something else I'm pretty passionate about because in the martial arts world, and you've probably seen this too, that there's martial arts out there that give people a false sense of confidence.
Mm-hmm.
And there's schools around here that are doing that. They're cranking out some black belts. And at one point, at this one particular school, one of their 2nd degree black belts came in when I was really active in karate. And he was a 16-year-old 2nd degree black belt. I was like, okay, you must have some skill here. I was just a brown belt at that time. I ate him alive, and I was 40 years old. He should be running laps around me, and he's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I'm chaining my attacks to get you."
Right.
So his black belt gave him a false sense of confidence. That broke my heart because it's not helpful for people to think that they have the skill when they don't.
Right. Well, you probably had some fundamental baseline of movement, it's not wasted time, but it is unfortunate. It is
Yes. It's like they promote too fast at this one particular school. I mean, you could get a black belt in 3 years.
There's some schools. There's some schools here that they do the black belt contracts.
Okay.
Typically, do you know what that is?
No, not really. Tell me more.
To pay for 2 years of tuition, sign the black belt contract.
Okay.
End of the 2 years.
You have your black belt.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. There are schools that do that. And,
I know. That's disheartening to me.
I feel like it's more important to earn it.
Exactly.
No matter how long it takes, so to speak. And
Right.
I tell my students that you want to think about your martial arts journey as a stack of paper, and you're only as good as your paper is, your
Mm-hmm.
stack is thick. Every day
Yes.
that you practice, you get to put one piece of paper on your stack.
Yes.
You know,
Yeah.
like I want them to understand that they don't need to rush it.
Yeah. Everybody's journey is different.
For
Um,
sure.
we've got a crazy journey. My husband and I, we received our first blue belt in jiu-jitsu from Hoist and Horion Gracie because we did
Whoa.
cross training here in Ohio because Ohio has one of the first Gracie jiu-jitsu schools
Mm-hmm.
outside of California
Mm-hmm.
in Westerville, Ohio, and the owner of that now is a good friend of mine too. But he we cross trained there, and then we also went on Gracie cruises where we got to train with the Gracies. I got to meet Henner and Huron as teenagers, had pizza eating contests with them. It was crazy. we lost, but I mean, they weren't following the Gracie diet apparently, but
Right.
but so we have like this weird journey where we started in the 90s with the
Mm-hmm.
Gracies, but yeah, if you look at
Mm-hmm.
me now, I'm not a black belt yet in jiu-jitsu
Mm-hmm.
because I mean, we stopped, I paused, I did other martial arts, I was reaching out, I was
Mm-hmm.
doing different things. I
Mm-hmm.
also took a pause to have
Mm-hmm.
children. We're blessed with twins, and I had a hard time getting pregnant, staying pregnant.
Mm-hmm.
It was just a battle and a journey, and I was high risk. So I had to pause. I had to put a big pause on martial arts for a while. But it's funny, we would still practice things, but not really practice things,
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, let me arm lock you for a minute, or,
yeah.
Yeah.
Going extra soft. Congratulations on kids.
Oh, thank you. They're 22 now, but,
Yeah. Well, how
that was a
has
while back.
how has martial arts helped you be a better parent?
Oh, discipline, for sure.
Dude, I've asked multiple parents that, and they didn't give that answer too.
Discipline and consistency.
Consistency is
You
big.
got to be consistent with kids when you're raising them, and when you say no, it should be no, and you shouldn't go back on no.
Absolutely.
So
100%. Because then the next no is not as firm as the previous no if you went back on it.
yes.
Okay, so we've been having a discussion in this. Sometimes this podcast is a lot of different things, but one of the things that it is a workshop for me to talk with other martial artists and think through and talk about things that I'm currently working on.
Mhm.
And the question starts with an omission, and the omission is, as a lifetime practitioner of the martial arts, I recognize that I am both equal parts sadistic and masochistic. So I recognize that, I accept it, I embrace it about myself. But not every student is.
Right.
And so then the question becomes, how do we teach people that are not violent to be violent when they need to be violent?
Often when I give my self-defense talks,
Mm-hmm.
I often warn women, especially, that when you are being attacked, you better either match their intensity or go beyond their intensity.
Mm-hmm.
If not, you're not going to get out of there.
Mm-hmm.
Even with the best skills, you're still not going to get out of that. You've got to match their intensity. Second, you've got to just calm down and use your mind.
Calm down, indeed.
Calm down and use your mind. A lot of women do not like to be physical. I've been, in self-defense, where we're grabbing them or, doing even a side control on them. And,
Mm-hmm.
they just think they're going to die. I'm like, no, you're not going to die here. You're not going to be smothered. Not unless you do something about it. I said, what's going to happen when you're actually attacked? I said, and some of these people, if they're high on something, they're not going to feel the pain.
Absolutely.
So, kicking them in certain places may not always work because,
Mm-hmm.
they may not feel it,
Mm-hmm.
which is it's crazy. So you're fighting almost like this machine coming at you, especially when they're high on something. So you've got to match their intensity. I can't do it for you, but you've just got to realize this is something you're going to have to do to get out of this situation.
Do you find that you're able to reach them by saying that?
Some, yes.
Some,
yes. Some, no. No.
Right. We haven't found an end all be all answer to this question yet.
No. You've got to. It's like anything in life. You got to want it.
For sure. I had a gentleman on who said that he likes to start a self-defense class by having somebody think about the person they are willing to fight for. Because a lot of times,
That's good.
oh, it's just me. I've been through worse. It's fine. Whereas, if they're thinking about their kids or their dog or a loved one, it does help. And then I recently interviewed a gentleman who he said that at the very beginning he gives every student permission to hurt somebody. I am giving you the permission to deliver pain when it's needed to be delivered. And I think that probably helps. And then just for the heck of it, I'll share what I do is that I bring my senior students into self-defense seminars. And while I'm teaching self-defense seminars, my senior students are not helping me teach. They are learning crisis intervention techniques.
Nice.
How does their grappling, how does their techniques work against breaking a situation up? And then we even go one step further because human instinct, two people are fighting and you want to break the fight up, you put yourself in the middle. And by putting yourself in the middle, I actually kind of encroach into the space where the person that was being attacked is, and they need space. So now I'm teaching my advanced students, how do we intercept the attack and move the attack away from the attack? So that's somebody.
I've used senior students to in my self-defense to help. They're not teaching per se. They're there to help me show the technique and then help the person with that technique. But often we get into the conversations after we're done with the class, not while we're helping the students. Like, how could we have done this better? How could how could we have gotten through to this, especially female, more? So we have those conversations. But I will say, just women tend to be hesitant. They tend to be just scared of that physical contact for some reason. And again, for women, it could be triggering if you've had a previous experience that people don't take into consideration. I try to, because I don't want to trigger somebody, but yet you've got to learn to overcome that fear. So you're no longer triggered.
Where do you think that comes from for women, that they are hesitant?
Some of it's the way they've been raised. Some women are taught to be, like a girly girl. Some women, it could be just because they have been physically or even mentally abused in their life, specifically physically, I think. Because you get into that situation, you're getting smothered or you're in the mount, somebody's on top of you. It could trigger a bad thing. So, I mean, obviously I can't do all the psychological help that they may need. For sure. But I can always talk with them and make them try to realize that we've got to learn to calm down those reactions. So some women have another level that they've put in there. It's just, like my best friend is a girly girl. I've tried for years to get her in to do a martial arts or doing something to protect herself. And she's like, "What? Why? I have you. I go everywhere with you." I'm like, I'm not going to be there forever, I'm everybody's bulldog, so to speak. There
Right.
might be a time where, you're isolated, and I don't want that to happen to you, but it's a possibility, especially in today's world.
I like that you're the watchdog, though. That's nice. That's
am.
nice. I've been that before.
They're like,
Somebody-
send Jalinda first. I'm like, oh, thanks.
Somebody would ask a math question and be like, I don't know the answer to that, but I do know y'all are safer standing by me than not.
Yeah. That's right.
So for you, in your own personal martial arts journey, what's next? It sounds like you're working toward that jiu-jitsu black belt.
I am.
That's next for you.
It's still, we stripe up, especially as instructors. So I'll go back a little bit and tell you a little bit about what One Academy is. One Academy was started by my professor. His name is Carlos Mendez. He started that actually as a blue belt, and he broke off. He's worked under Robin Gessler out of Gracie, Ohio, one of the original jiu-jitsu schools outside of California. So he's my professor now, and as we're going through the ranks, we kind of went back to him because we're like, we need to refresh our jiu-jitsu. This was back in like 2017. I was like, we told him our background, where we came from, that we just need to continue to grow. And he respected the blue belt that we got, but we had to redo his blue belt curriculum, which really is Gracie Fundamentals or Gracie Combatives. So we had to, refresh on that. We knew a lot of it, but it's still, you never know everything.
You never know it for sure.
You never know everything. So we ended up going to him, and eventually he was like, do you want to be a branch of One Academy? You guys are really good instructors. You already have 2 black belts under you. Do you guys want to do this? And we ran with it at that point. So
no, when you're extended the honor, you take the honor for sure.
Yeah. So I am chasing that black belt, but yeah, it's a journey. It's not a it's a marathon. It's not a sprint.
Chase is probably the wrong word, but yeah.
Yeah, it's I often wonder, I'm like, is my body going to hold out long enough for me to be able to be tested for black belt? Because I'm looking probably in my mid to late 50s by the time I probably test for black belt.
Yeah.
If I keep at the same pace that I'm going. So, but I'm always looking for new ways of thinking about things. I'm always looking at, we're always cross-training with the best. Like I said, we did Pedro Valente not too long ago. Last week, I got to retrain again with Hoist Gracie.
That's
so,
cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
And he did a lot of just fight scenarios. A lot of things that he used in the UFC. So I'm always looking at a different way of looking at something.
For sure. Yeah, I think Irish Stick's next for me. And I always ask what's next because I think that's part of the other thing that is the lifelong martial arts practitioner is I always need what's new. I need more.
Yes.
I need more. I need more. So.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, I might end up trying to do IBJJF Worlds next year too.
You should.
There's not very many women my age that does this. My weight class and age. Very few. Like I looked at it this past year, there was only 2 that went to Worlds.
That's insane.
So I'm like, what do I have to lose?
Jody, if you're watching this, you should do Worlds. one of the first women that I interviewed, she had her first MMA fight at 50.
Okay. Oh wow!
Yeah,
they won't allow you in Ohio to do that.
She is hardcore.
Love it.
Yeah.
I would almost attempt to do that myself, but they don't allow it in Ohio.
That's interesting. They have an age cap then?
They kind of have an age cap, not unless you've got like a lot of previous background in it.
Okay.
But then even, I think like at late 30s or 40s, they start like, you have to have CAT scans and brain scans and all that stuff to make sure you're safe. I mean, it's pretty strict here in Ohio.
They probably are like 40 and you want to start pro fighting. There's something wrong with your head. You got to scan it.
Yeah,
That's what it is.
that's true. If my knee was like in tip top shape, I
Hmm.
would be like really considering
Hmm.
that. But I don't know. I might shoot for Worlds next year. The last
Have
2 years have
you
not worked out, so
have you seen the Instagram account Yoga for BJJ?
no, I don't think I
No,
have.
you should check that out. Some BJJ practitioners, they took time to learn yoga and become yoga certified instructors,
Yes,
and
yes,
then they tailored the program to uh, jujitsu practitioners.
perfect. I mean, I
So,
do yoga too, so
hmm.
I mean, I don't stretch like you normally do. I don't do the
Hmm.
warm
Hmm.
ups normally.
Hmm.
I have to go because I have a back injury, because I have a knee
Hmm.
injury. I can't go running around the mat.
For sure.
It's better for me to do a mountain climber, or where I'm still getting the
Hmm.
same movement, but I'm just not putting that impact on my knee.
Hmm.
So yeah, I use a lot of yoga, a lot of
You know,
yoga.
though, injuries are really good for instructors because you are like, oh, I can't do that anymore and I have to do this. And so
Mhm.
then now you learn what you
Yeah,
need to have other people do when they are damaged.
right. Everybody's got their own game. Everybody's got
Hmm.
their own what they're good at. Like one thing I'm never going to probably be really proficient at is a butterfly guard, because my knee, I cannot take my heel to my
Hmm.
butt anymore. I
Hmm.
don't have that flexibility. I
Hmm.
can still do it, but if somebody does that to me, I'm probably going to be there. You're going to have to carry me off the mat
Hmm.
because I have so
Hmm.
much scar tissue, and
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
just going to
yeah, yeah,
really
yeah.
hurt. So I've had to adopt and adapt the
Hmm.
butterfly guard. I call it a broken butterfly now. I get one hook in and I kind of wrap the my bad leg around their leg on the outside, and I can still
Hmm.
get a lift, and I'm still blocking their leg so they can't post out. So
Hmm.
I mean, I don't think I you always think you created something like a new
Hmm.
move in jiu-jitsu,
Hmm.
but it's probably been there.
Right, right, right. Though I like the broken butterfly, though. That's a good name.
Yep, I
That's a
have a
good
broken
name.
butterfly.
And as long as it does what it's supposed to do, it doesn't really matter, you know?
Yeah, but everybody's got their own game.
For
What they
sure.
can do, if you look, there's little guy jiu-jitsu and big guy jiu-jitsu. You
Hmm.
know, big guys are not going to probably be able to do as much inverting as a little guy can. They don't have the same flexibility, or their body just doesn't move that way because it's big. So I mean,
Right, right.
everybody's got their own game, and you just got to
Hmm.
figure that out. Like I said, everybody's got a different journey, what they're
Hmm.
going to be good at. It's not that I still don't dive into the butterfly guard. I can still teach a butterfly guard. I can
Hmm.
still teach it.
For sure.
I still understand it. I still know
Hmm.
how to use it, but it's
Hmm.
just not practical for me to use it. But my
Right.
professor, he's proficient at it,
Hmm.
because he still has good knees at this point. So,
Right. Well, just the Kung Fu masters, they don't teach head kicks by
right,
demonstration, but they still teach head kicks.
right,
If you
right.
you ever watch any really old in their 60s or older kung fu practitioners, they'll have their senior students do the high kicks
Yes. Yeah.
and do the demonstration for
Yeah.
class, but they're still teaching them
Yes.
because the body has progressed to where it doesn't need that any longer.
Right. The more you can preserve that body. Just this past
Hmm.
year, we've bought a couple of crash mats. And we've got pretty good mats to fall on. Our mats are designed to take falls.
Yeah.
But the older me and my husband get, we're like, let's pull out the crash pads. It's like falling into a little pillow or
Right. Right.
a cloud.
Right. Back when crash pads were hard to get, we used to use a twin size mattress.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know if you ever got the pleasure of that, but
Yeah, not like actually at a school, but
okay,
when we were practicing at home. Oh
okay.
yeah. Before we
The
had our own mats and stuff.
springs inside of mattress are not the best, but
No,
for
no, yeah.
that,
You can bottom out still on those
yeah,
sometimes,
for sure.
depending on how hard that throw is.
So you all have had your school since before COVID.
Yes.
And
Yes,
how did you weather the COVID storm with your school?
We were blessed in that sense that we owned the building that our
Oh,
school was in.
that does
So
make it a lot easier.
it does make it easier because we didn't have to make the rent.
Mm-hmm.
So we just shut it down, and it's funny because in 2020 we started teaching jiu-jitsu. We opened it up to jiu-jitsu February of 2020.
No way.
And so, like, by mid-March,
Okay.
we were shutting down. So we're like, we had a month and a half of jiu-jitsu classes. You know,
Well,
what can you do?
I'm glad you all own the building. That does make things a heck of a lot easier.
It did made it, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So how did you weather the storm then?
So I don't own a school.
Okay.
And at current, I teach out of some rehabs. I teach out of community centers.
Love it.
And I teach a couple of like private classes for disenfranchised groups. I have an LGBT. I don't do self-defense classes. That's another thing. Okay. I feel it extremely disingenuous for me to come to me for 4 hours and I can make sure you can defend yourself.
Right.
And so instead what I do is clinics. So it's like, well, we're going to work out for an hour and a half for the next 3 weeks, 4 weeks, month, whatever. And then that way, like you build a little bit more.
I like that. So yeah, very good.
I've done self-defense seminars, but few and far between. I'm about to go to Marshall Summit in November.
Okay.
And I will teach that, but that's more to other martial artists. So I'm just kind of giving them the lowdown on how I do it.
Yeah, I like that.
But the COVID question, I haven't owned a school since 2010.
Okay.
And in 2010, my martial arts changed drastically. One, I got every student together that I was teaching, and I pulled them all in, and I said, I don't teach martial arts anymore. That's the bad news. Good news is you can still learn from me. I teach philosophy and motion. And the reason that I changed from teaching martial arts to philosophy and motion is because I have this guy who wants to learn how to compete. Mm-hmm. I have this lady who wants to learn to defend themselves. I have this guy who wants to just get in better shape. I have this guy who's always been enamored by martial arts movies. And so he wants to learn how to look cool.
Right.
Well, so I could teach all of them under the umbrella of philosophy and motion. But secondarily is when the guy who wanted things to look cool now wants to compete. He doesn't have to go someplace else. Whereas if I'm teaching something, people automatically are rigidly assuming that that's what they're going to learn from me, and they can't learn anything else from me. So that was one thing. 2010, I also started a nonprofit. And so my nonprofit would do all of our lessons for free. All of the stuff that I teach for free now, it teaches for free. The nonprofit is able to pay me for my time. Yeah. And I'm working on getting scholarships set up for people so that yeah. So just different stuff like that. It's just a fundamental different approach to martial arts than a brick and mortar.
I love it.
Ed Parker, I'm a Kempo practitioner. That's where I started, was Kempo. Yeah. So Ed Parker said that your dojo is wherever you are.
That's true.
You shouldn't have to walk through a dojo door in order to practice. I could practice just as easily in my backyard or my basement or my garage, whatever. So that opened up the way that I thought about it. So that's how I weathered the storm by not being a part of the storm, maybe. I don't know.
You were lucky there.
Yeah. Lucky
we weathered
in a different
pretty
way.
Well, but I know other schools, like my professor struggled because he rents a space in Athens, so he struggled to luckily I think they worked with him on stuff. I think a lot of people were doing that at that time. So
I know a lot of schools. I'm from Louisville, Kentucky. A lot of schools here. They weathered the storm just because their landlords were gracious enough to help them.
Yes.
So, but I think landlords were getting help in other places too. So
they were. Yeah. So,
What did you want to say that you didn't get a chance to say?
Oh my.
And then you go, and go.
That's pretty much it. I mean, I would just say anybody that wants to do martial arts, just do it.
Mm-hmm.
Keep exploring what works for you.
Absolutely.
If it's just karate, that's fine. That's fine. If that's what's working for you, keeping you mentally and physically in shape, are you learning good self defense? As make sure it's a solid school. It's not a school that's just there to beat you up. Because I do know people. We actually had a father and a daughter come to us, and they tried out another jiu-jitsu school before they came to us. They're like, it was just like a 10-minute lesson, then the rest was all rolling. And in the first month, he was injured 3 times. This is we're talking about a guy that maybe is not in the best of shape, but he's wanting to get in better shape through martial arts and learn some defense techniques. And I felt bad for him. I was like, that's not going to happen here. You can push yourself as much as you want. If you want to start rolling, fantastic, but you don't have to, especially when you start. You know, you got to be confident in what you're doing. So make sure you're in a school that's not going to hurt you. Does injuries happen? Yeah. You know, is it, they just kind of happen organically. Yeah.
Anything physical injuries happen.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, you're in a contact sport. So, yeah. Are you going to get hurt? Are you going to get bruises? Yes. But, just especially for women, you need to really learn to defend yourself and not rely on other people to do that for you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And where can the people find you?
Yeah, I'm at One Academy in Lancaster, Ohio. They can either look up our website, which I'm going to be revamping here probably in the next few weeks. I'm going to be revamping that, so it's going to start looking a little different. So you could go there. You can go to our Facebook. You can go to our Instagram. So we've got it all there. So
awesome, and I'll make sure I get links from you, and I'll put it in the show notes.
Okay, perfect.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Well, it was a pleasure. I try and keep these at around an hour. I want to thank everybody that listened. I want to thank you for having this conversation with me. Yeah, and like anytime. I tell everybody else, as such, since you sat down with me, you're now part of my martial arts journey, whether you like it or not. And I thank you for that as well.
Yes.
So, all right. And everybody, keep kicking.
Yes.
Again, hope you enjoyed that conversation. I enjoy hearing the female perspective because it helps me guide how I teach, to make sure that my classes are comfortable for all involved. If you all know anybody that would like to have some Discord on this podcast, or if you yourself would like to have Discord on this podcast, please reach out to me, keepkickingpod@gmail.com. I am hopeful that I can have conversations and build community as rich as what I have experienced this previous week. Go out there, take the trip, take the class, build the sculpture, paint the painting, write the book, record the podcast, do the thing, let inspiration flood you like a wave, rinse and repeat. Until next time, everyone, keep kicking.